Hello and welcome to this CompSkill tutorial. In this lecture I want to talk about VLOOKUP functions. A lookup function is a very simple and powerful way to allow a formula to return a value from a table. So it means that you don't have to have super long if statements or whatever. You can have a nice short little statement that returns a value that meets a condition. So a VLOOKUP is where we have a vertical table. So the values go vertically, and usually these are probably the most common ones, although we do have an HLOOKUP that does exactly the same but on a horizontal table. So a VLOOKUP has a number of arguments, and one of the arguments is the lookup table that we're returning the value from. So the very first thing you should do after you've set up your model here is to set up a table. Now what I've got is a number of salespeople. We'll just make that bold so we can see that they're headings. A number of salespeople who have recorded some sales for a period, and there's a empty cell there to take a commission rate. So the scenario is that they earn a different commission for a certain amount of sales. So I've set up a table here with the amounts in it. So if they sell up to $5,000, they get 1%. If it's less than $5,000, they don't get anything. So I'll talk about ways later of how to account for that. We also, 10,000 is 2%, 20,000 is 3%, and so on till we get to 40,000 at 5%, and then a big jump at 50,000 to 10%. So what that means is this is the smallest amount at which you can earn 10%. So if you sold $1 million, you would get 10%. If you sold $50,000, you would get 10%. If you sold $49,999, you would get 5%. So these are the smallest amounts, and they should be laid out in the order. So in this case, in descending order that they go in. The second column shows the value that we want to return. So if we go over here to our commission cell and we enter equals, because that's what we do when we enter a formula or a function, and we start typing VLOOKUP, and we turn on the table, the function editor. So the lookup, so the arguments we've got 3 compulsory arguments and 1 non-compulsory that we're not going to worry about today. We're only going to worry about in this lecture a 3-value one, because there are 2 types of lookup function, a range lookup and an exact value, and this is a range lookup that we're doing. So the lookup value is the value that's in column B. So we'll put in B4, and you can see that corresponds over here. And the table array is the table that I named earlier, but it's also these values. It doesn't include the headings, so I'm just going to select it just so you can see what we're getting. Oh, I didn't name it. Okay, it's a bit of a bummer. I should have named it. I'm going to do my function F4 just to hold it in place, and I'll show you how to name it again in a minute. So we've got that table there, and the column index refers to the column from the table that we want to return the value from. Now this is just a number, so this column has this table has 2 columns in it. The left column is always column 1, and then we go 2, 3, 4 depending on how many columns. So in this case we've only got 2 columns. So the simplest way is just to hardwire that in and put in a 2. You can see that this is going to return 1%, because that value is 73,086. What happens now is when I enter this, the spreadsheet takes this value to the table. It looks for an exact match. It can't find one, so it goes to the next smallest value. And 10%, I mean, not 1%. So it can't find 73. The smallest value is 50,000, so it's going to return that value. So let's just go OK and see what we get. And let's just change that formatting so it's percent, so it matches the table. And we'll copy that down, and let's go back and check. So we've got a 3, a 4, some 10s, and a 3. So the 4 is 35,000, 4%, the lowest value is 30,000, so that makes sense. Let's change this value here so it is 6,000, and that automatically changes to 1%. Because there is the lowest value is 5%. So that's a very simple VLOOKUP. Just remember to get these in descending order or alphabetical order, whatever you're looking up. Remember that you should name the table like I didn't do, so we select the table only and not the columns, and we go over to our name box and we call this commission underscore values, and oops, and this is where you see that I can't spell. Oh, values. There we go, finally, and we hit enter. Now I can go back to my formula and just reselect that so we get the table name. Oops, didn't work. We'll do that one more time. I could go back here and I'll go to my box again, and I will just go back here and select the table name that I want there, and that goes in as commission values. So we'll copy that down, and that just makes more sense. If the commission changes, then this will update. So it's a nice, simple, easy VLOOKUP function. We'll come back and talk about some problems that you may have with a simple VLOOKUP table that's looking for a range of values in my next video. Thank you.